All right, let's bring in our powerhouse panel with Republican strategist and attorney Amanda Mackey, political analyst Mark Halperin, constitutional and civil rights attorney and Newsmax contributor Amir Benno, and National Advisory Board member at Project 21, Christopher Arps. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Friday right before the 4th of July. I'm surprised you all are working today, so at least you're up with us. I want to start, obviously, with news that we've been talking about over the last week, that the tragic building collapse in Florida. The president made his way down to Florida and said that the federal government will do whatever they can to help. Take a listen.
And I think my colleagues will tell you we cut through the bureaucracy. The one order I gave the federal folks was no bureaucracy, just cut through it, get to whatever they need. That's why we decided to cover, for example, 100% of the search and rescue cost for the first 30 days. Not done often, but necessary here, in my view. And FEMA is going to provide temporary housing and other urgent needs for the survivors.
Amanda, I want to start with you. What does this mean for the federal government to be involved in this since day one?
I think it's really important. Look, this is an important effort that is underway, and it is costing a lot of resources coming in from all parts of Florida to help out in this effort. This is a huge tragedy. And obviously, President Biden is working with the governor, working with the mayor there, and wanting to, relieve the load from the governor and the mayor. And so he's doing his part. They're working in a very nonpartisan way, which is exactly the way it should be. This is what we should see out of good government when you have a tragedy like this. So, it's all been very good for the last week, just seeing everyone work together in this huge tragedy that we see. And now, obviously, it's more of a rescue effort, a recovery effort. And so just an unfortunate situation all around, but good to see that government is working together and politics is being put aside.
Yeah, that is, at least refreshing on that side. I know that they had to stop for a little while the search and rescue because of the fear of the building collapsing. Mark, so, as I mentioned, these rescues were halted. Officials are now saying that the rest of the building will likely be demolished. How concerning is this for other condo buildings around the state, do you think?
Well, I also think not just around the state, but around the country. And that's part of why the federal government's involved. It's to express grief at a national level, to provide resources, but it's also to focus on making sure this doesn't happen elsewhere. We still just don't have a lot of answers. Is this a one-off? Is this a unique situation involving the physical location of that building and potential negligence on the part of the managers? Or is there something more going on here, at least on homes and buildings located on the water, that really needs national attention?
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, we just talked about Governor Ron DeSantis, who spoke at a roundtable with the president about the situation in Surfside. Take a listen.
We've had people, this is the first response in Florida's history outside of a hurricane where all of our urban search and rescue teams were mobilized. So they've been going in and out of the rubble, searching, trying to find people, trying to rescue people. At a minimum, trying to identify anyone who may be deceased to bring closure to the families, which is very important. But they're tired, and this has taken a toll on them. And so the fact that we now have that search and rescue team from Virginia here, and I know we have some more on the way, that's going to be helpful because this is grueling.
Chris, a couple things. As Amanda mentioned, the President Biden and DeSantis obviously, working together. Biden saying, we'll give you whatever you need, which is great to see them actually sitting at a table and agreeing and coming together. But, as the governor was saying, that it's really taking a toll on rescue workers. They're working nonstop to find survivors. This is extremely difficult, not only for families, but for these rescue workers. How much of a toll do you think it's taking on these rescue workers?
Oh, I'm sure it's taking a tremendous toll on the rescue workers. I had heard a sad story yesterday where there was a woman that was trapped in the wreckage, and she was begging for them to come and help her. And they searched for her for 12 or 15 hours, and then after that time, they no longer heard her voice anymore. So it's presumed that she is no longer with us. I'm pleased to see the president and Governor DeSantis come together. That's what tragedies usually do for us. We need to put aside our political differences. But I was a little dismayed yesterday when I heard the president try to blame global warming almost for the collapse of this building. I think we need to keep politics out of this and try to save as many people and rescue as many people as we can.
Yeah, Chris, I think you're right. Sometimes the Democrats seem to bring global warming into everything. This does not seem, based on what we've seen reports, obviously it looked like there was some water damage from the pool. Amir, multiple lawsuits were filed saying this was preventable. Do you think that we'll see more in the coming future?
Oh, I'm certain of it. I'm certain, and possibly even criminal prosecution. I mean, we have to wait to see what the facts will, unfold, how they'll unfold. But yes, I mean, this is such a tragedy on so many levels, and people deserve justice ultimately, and what form that justice takes, whether it's civil justice and money damages, or whether it's criminal justice, and there will be some sort of criminal penalty. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to shift to Washington now, where Nancy Pelosi announced her January 6th commission and said a familiar name. Take a listen.
Congresswoman Liz Cheney of the Armed Services Committee has patriotically agreed to serve on the committee. She has a family matter she's dealing with, may join us depending on how long this takes. But we're very honored and proud that she has agreed to serve on the committee.
Amanda, does this shock you at all?
A little bit, actually. I'm surprised knowing she's going into a very challenging primary, knowing that her numbers are so low right now amongst Republicans in the state of Wyoming. Why would you do this? But I do think that there is a nefarious reason. I think she has now the ability to subpoena Republicans that perhaps she's displeased with. So I think that is her reason, and that is her angle for doing it. But it certainly gives Nancy Pelosi the ability to say we are working in a bipartisan way, and for Liz Cheney to potentially go after people in her own party that she wants to pursue with subpoenas.
All right. Well, Mark and Chris and Amir, we're going to come back in a little bit to talk more about all the news of the day. We do have to wrap it up because we have to go to another reporter. But thank you so much. We will see you at the top of the hour.